I love beginning the thing. I love the blank page. I love putting ideas on a blank piece of paper. And then we create those ideas together when we direct. I think then Andy's passion is to shape and finish those ideas in editorial, which they call the final rewrite, and then also scoring, which he's doing now, and the finishing of the movie. So that's how I could most cleanly describe the process.
After doing, Woodlawn, which was a football movie, and then, having our breakout with I Can Only Imagine, we were looking at what was next, and somebody brought us back Kurt Warner's story, and we went over to Kurt and Brenda's house and sat down with them, and that day was just magic.
I think they say a filmmaker finds their story and tells it over and over again. You find the story that you were born to tell, and for us, that has ended up being inspirational true stories. There's something amazing about true stories because they're empowering. You think, if that person was able to accomplish their dream, maybe I can accomplish mine. There isn't a better underdog story in sports. The idea that this guy was bagging groceries and life told him, your dream is impossible. And just a few years later, he's MVP of the league and MVP of the Super Bowl. What an amazing story.
When we sat down with Kurt and Brenda, we just said it had been developed by a lot of other filmmakers that wanted to do the story at different points. And we just said, what did all those other filmmakers miss that you really wanted them to catch? And he said, it's about my relationship with Zach, my son who's blind. And we looked at each other like, that's like incredible to tell this father-son story, the story of a love relationship and a family, and how that spurred him on to do great things on the field. And so we really kind of centered the film around that.
There's a verse in the Bible that says, we in due season we'll reap if we just basically don't quit. And I think this is one of those stories that's a manifestation of that. I'm convinced that Kurt Warner doesn't meet Brenda. There is no Super Bowl winning champion. She brought that strength of character and resolve and grit and compassion and love to his life in a way that enabled him to be a champion on the field. Our core idea was we want to put the audience in the game. We're so used to seeing football from a distance, on the weekends. The idea was, what would it look like if we filmed this sport the way John Wick would film it, or an action sequence or a car chase, and put the camera in a very visceral way into the game. The audience is going to get an adrenaline thrill ride with the game of football, and you're going to be able to see the game maybe like you haven't seen it before. Zach is in that Hugh Jackman level of unfairness to the rest of humanity. Like when you can anchor a TV show, a hit TV show, a Broadway play, a Disney musical, and a superhero franchise, it's like you should not be able to be that talented. He was a great collaborator and an incredible Kurt Warner, and I think he crushes it.
When we were looking for somebody to play Brenda, we needed somebody that could match Zach Levi's fire. And when Anna's name came up, we were like, holy cow, do you think we could get her? She's an Oscar winner and incredibly talented actress and has played some iconic roles. But we wanted to see if she registered with the script. And she read the script and she fell in love with Brenda. And she said, on her first Zoom call with us, she said, do you think Brenda would want me to play her? And I said, who wouldn't want to cast an Oscar winner in this role that's that committed? Absolutely.
We were passionate about the fact that the actor playing Zach should actually be blind,
Yeah.
And that's the case with Hayden. And he just had this inner light. I mean, everyone was influenced by his presence on the set. It was so special. And I remember the moment we wrapped him. Typically when you wrap an actor, everybody cheers and everybody's happy because he could go home and spend a lot of hours. And we wrapped him and he started crying because he was like, I don't want it to end. And we started crying. And it was like the sweetest moment.
I mean, there's something about Dennis that when he's on screen, as a viewer, you watch it and you say, whatever he's talking about, whether it's baseball in The Rookie or Esurance commercials. I mean, you look at him and you just look at it like, it's like, I trust that guy. I really trust that guy. And he really, really embodied Coach Vermeil in a way that I think is extremely special. He studied all the news conferences and making sure he got the mannerisms right, and really kind of brought this kind of inner brokenness of him kind of being a guy that needed a second chance himself. Sir Darius Blaine was one of the few dramatic liberties that we took in the story. Just there's this raw authenticity that he brings to the screen that we love. Up and coming star, of course, everybody knows him from the Jumanji movies and all that, but just an incredibly kind of articulate, soft-spoken guy that has a tremendous amount of heart to what he brings to it and great comedic timing.
Bruce McGill, he has been in like a ton of movies and iconic movies. He's like one of those character actors that just elevates. So the material in Bruce's hands just got better. And even as we would rehearse it, I would rewrite it. And he's hysterical. He's in many ways the comic relief of the film, and he's great. I would work with him any day.
Oh yeah.
The back third of this movie is almost its own movie, and Chance steals the movie. He crushes it as Martz, who's a coach that is testing Warner at every level, and he delivered what was in the script in such a way that blew us all away, that I kept adding more stuff for him to do. I kept saying, we just need more Martz in this movie, and we put him in scenes he wasn't in, and I wrote dialogue for him, and he's one of the best actors I've ever worked with, one of the best people I've ever worked with. Andy and I make films for the Heartland, faith-based films, inspirational movies, films that, our goal and dream is to bring back that spirit of Frank Capra, to me, the ultimate filmmaker. What's so interesting to me with this movie is when audiences watched it in test screenings and research screenings, they called it an inspirational love story before they called it a sports story. So while it happens in the world of sports, this is a story for dreamers everywhere.
It's every bit an incredible sports movie, an underdog story, a family movie, and a love story all combined into one. And so it's got something for everyone, and it delivers. And so I can't wait for the families to go together and experience this together on Christmas Day.